Welcome to the second meeting of Introduction to Paragraph Writing class. In this session, we are discussing one important topic in writing that is about phrases, clauses, and sentences. Get yourself ready and let's learn to improve our writing skills. For the learning objectives of this meeting, you are expected to be able to recognize differences between phrases, clauses, and sentences in writing, understand the elements of good sentence writing, and last, write your own complete sentences. Let's discuss the differences between a phrase, clause, and sentence first. A phrase is defined as a group of related words that does not have a subject doing the action of a verb. This also means that it is not a complete thought. It is a grammatical unit at a level between a word and a clause. The meaning of a phrase is often not obvious from the meaning of the individual words in it. The next one is a clause. It is a collection of words with a subject that is doing the action of a verb. Even if it sounds the same like a sentence, not all clauses can be called a sentence. We will have the discussion in the next session. The last one is a sentence itself. A good and complete sentence must have at least one independent clause with a complete thought. Do not forget that you will have to start it with a capital letter and end it with a punctuation. For a more detailed explanation, let us start with phrases. A phrase is actually a group of two or more words functioning as a meaningful unit within a sentence or a clause. It is actually a grammatical unit at a level between a word and a clause. There are various types of phrases in English, but in this lesson, we will limit the discussion only for 5 main types of phrases, namely noun phrase, verb phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase, and prepositional phrase. A noun phrase can be a single noun or a group of words that are built around a single noun. A phrase consists of two main components, the head or the head word and a modifier. The head word determines the grammatical nature of the unit, while the modifier roles to modify the head word itself. Now take a look at the examples provided. The red words show the head word and the rest show the modifier of the noun phrase itself. To make it simple, in the first example, the head word is the word rose. To modify this noun and to explain the object of the sentence, the writer uses a vase of roses to show that there are more than one rose on the table. That is how a modifier used to explain about certain unit in a phrase. The second one is a verb phrase. It is also called as a verb group. This phrase consists of two components, a main verb and its auxiliary verbs, and it includes modals. For your information, some modal verbs that we can use are may, can, should, shall, etc. As the name is a verb phrase, you can focus on the group of verb used in tenses. Now, we move to the discussion of adjective phrases. An adjective phrase can be a single adjective or a group of words built around a single adjective. That means that the phrase itself acts as an adjective in a sentence. Take a look at the examples provided. The red words show the head word of each sample, and the italicized ones are the modifier of the phrase. The next phrase is adverb phrases. This phrase modifies other words by explaining why, how, where, or when an action occurred. Adverb clauses can be used to add explanatory detail to your writing and explain how or why things happen. To explain more, there are various types of adverbial phrases in English. The following are the most common that you can learn to use in your sentences. Adverbs of frequency and time are used to show time or frequency of the action in the sentence. They answer the question of when or how frequent is the action performed. Adverbs of manner express the manner or approach or process of the action in the sentence. They answer the question of how is the action performed. Adverbs of place indicate place or direction or the action in the sentence. They answer the questions of where is the action performed. Adverbs of degree expresses the importance or the degree or the level of the action in the sentence. They answer the question of how much is the action performed. Conjunctive adverbs are used to start the sentence and modifies the whole sentence or to connect two clauses or two sentences together. The last phrase to discuss is prepositional phrase. A prepositional phrase always begins with a preposition and connects nouns and followed by its object, which usually a noun phrase. Take a look at the example provided. The red words show the head word and the italicized ones show the modifier used in the phrase. After learning about phrases, let's continue the discussion with more information about clauses. So a clause is actually a group of words which includes a subject and a finite verb. A clause contains not only one subject and one verb. The subject of a clause can be mentioned or hidden, but the verb must be clear and easy to find. Basically, there are two types of clauses, independent and dependent clauses. Independent clauses can function on its own to make meaningful sentence and looks much like a regular sentence. Usually, we combine independent clauses to make a more complex constructions by using a connector. On the contrary, dependent clauses are different as they cannot form a complete sentences because it will be an unfinished thought or idea. So, the dependent clauses can function to help the independent clauses complete the sentence. Now, let's take a look at the examples. These are the examples of independent clauses. As you can see, they can function on its own. You can even combine more than just one clause in one sentence by adding a connector like but, for, yet, and many more. Just Google it and you can find many more connector words. On the other hand, from the examples of the dependent clauses, you can see that they cannot stand on their own. You cannot just simply write while I was asleep because I can't wait for the bus. If the dress is on sale, you cannot write it that way. Why? Because those will be just incomplete thought. You can change it into while I was asleep, my mother came into my room. Or the second phrase into I just ordered an online taxi because I cannot wait for the bus. In other words, you need the rest of the information to make it into a good and complete sentence. Let us now practice what you have learned from today's session by writing your own complete and good sentences. You have learned and you have known the differences between a clause, phrase, and sentence, so make sure to use your complete sentences in this practice. Read the prompt carefully and just give your best shot. You can write as many sentences as you want to write. Just remember, the more you practice, the better you will get. So, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Happy writing, everyone!